Hello friends, in this video we are going to be looking at portrait retouching for high-end results. This is Twisted Creative. Alaribe is my name. If it's your first time on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not just hitting that subscribe button, also ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. The image we are going to be using is shot on RAW. Link in the description to download the image to follow along. Without wasting much time, let's get straight into it. This is the image, but we are going to double click now to open camera raw. We are going to be using this camera raw to balance the exposure, which is step 1. So I'm going to start by bringing the highlight down and the white down to like minus 42. Then I take the shadow up to reduce the shadow area. So then I can go to exposure and pick it up. So I'll go to contrast and raise it to balance the color of the image. So I believe it's okay like this. I just have to hit open. So this is the image in Photoshop. We are going to crop away the areas we don't need on this image. So we are going to take our crop tool. With the original ratio, we are going to adjust the area we want to make use of. So have to okay it here, and this is the image. Then I'm going to use my Ctrl J to duplicate this image so as to see before and after. The step 2 is that we are going to be removing blemishes. So we are going to take our patch tool here, zoom in, and we can circle around any stuff and drag it to another location for a better location close by. I'm going to fasten up the whole process so that it will not take your time. Now we are done with the aspect of removing the blemishes. The step 3 is going to be aligning the eyebrow. So let's zoom in to the eyebrow. You can use any selection tool you prefer, but I'm going to use lasso tool to do this. So I'm going to pick up my lasso tool with my L selected for lasso tool. Then I start from here, then I drag it like this. I just want something very straight and unique. So let's assume this is the eyebrow. Then we are going to select the main image and right click, then feather with 2, hit OK, then use your Ctrl C to copy, then Ctrl V to paste. So we now have a copy of this. Let's disable this. We have this as a copy. So we are to select the image again and go to the top side and start another selection. There is also a tutorial for how to align eyebrow, so you can go there and watch if you don't understand what we are doing here. Link in the description. We have to select the image again, use Ctrl C to copy, then Ctrl V to paste. Now I'll take my move tool and move that area down and take it under this layer. I'm going to move it down like this. We have a very straight eyebrow there. Then let's go back to the image, select the image again, then go to the bottom side with L lasso tool, then we'll go to the bottom side and make selection, rough selection. You can be inside, then just give it a space and end it here. Then we'll right click again, feather with 2 and hit OK. Then we are using Ctrl C to copy, then Ctrl V to paste. Now we'll go to our move tool again and push it upward. Then we are done with this left side. We are going to use our Ctrl G to place them in a group. Then we can call it left. Then we are going to click on the image again and go to the right side with my L for lasso tool. Then I make another selection for this stuff here. So with this original selection for the main eyebrow, you have to be precise. on how you want it to be. You can change this shape, but don't spoil it. So here we have it here. So we have to right click, feather with 2, hit OK, then use Ctrl C for copy, then Ctrl V for paste. Now we have to go to the image again and make another selection. It can be up, it can be down. Let's do the top side first. But this time around, you don't need to be that precise because you already have the precise one up there. So have to give it a little space and go back. So we'll have to right click, feather with 2, hit OK, use Ctrl C for copy, then Ctrl V for paste. Then we'll go to our move tool and push downward our direction key. Then we'll go to the image again and do the same thing to the downside. So go to pick our lasso tool and make our selection, but not that precise as the first one. So give it a little space that we are going to push in to straighten it. Then we are okay here. Then feather, right click, feather with 2, hit OK, use your Ctrl C for copy, then Ctrl V to paste. Go to our move tool now, then push it upward to straighten the eyebrow. Select the first one, you hold your shift to select the last one, then use your Ctrl G to put them in a group, and this time around this one is going to be right. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Then let's check the other side. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Let's check the general before and after. Have to click on this. This is before, this is after. You can see a great job has been done there. So we have to merge the eyebrow alignment, which is these two groups. We have to merge them with the original file. You select the first one, hold shift, then click on the image, then use your Ctrl E to merge them. We are only left with this now. We can see the before and after. This is before and after. That takes us to stage 4, which is eyes and teeth whitening. So we are going to click on the adjustment layer and choose hue and saturation. Then we are going to click on this drop down and choose red. Reduce the saturation to -70 or thereabout, let's say 71. Then increase the lightness to, let's say, 60 here. Then we'll click on the drop down again and choose yellow. Then we'll reduce the saturation to 70 or thereabouts. Let's say -71. Then we'll increase the lightness to 60 or 50 thereabouts. Let's say 60. We'll click on the layer mask and use our Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. You can zoom in and reduce or increase our brush size. Pick our brush tool, make sure the foreground color is white and the background color is black. Reduce or increase our brush size and paint on the white part of the eye. Can reduce or increase your brush size when necessary. Then we'll go to the teeth, we'll zoom in and reduce the brush size and paint on the teeth. If you feel the effect is too much, you can reduce the opacity down to 50. Then this is what we have here. That takes us to step 5, which is dodging and burning. We are going to make it very fast. Okay, let's go to the adjustment layer and choose curves. Then we'll bring the shadows down. We'll rename this as burn. Click on the layer mask and use Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. Then we'll pick our brush to make sure the foreground color is white and background color is black. Then we'll reduce our opacity to, let's say, 10. Then our flow to 10%. We'll go ahead and brush on the image. So we are going to be brushing like this. You can increase the brush size when necessary or reduce it when necessary. So let's check the before and after. This is before, this is after. You can see something is being done here. So you can increase and paint around this area, the dark areas. So let's check the before and after the burning. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. We'll go to the adjustment layer again and choose curves again. This time around, we are going to pull the highlights up. We are going to click on the layer mask, use our Ctrl I to invert the layer. Make sure the foreground is white and the background is black, and we'll go in there and reduce the brush size and continue with the opacity and flow. Then we can click on the highlights. So let's check the before and after. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Then let's go to the forehead and match this area. So this is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. So we are going to rename this to Dodge. Let's select the first one, then hold our Ctrl or Shift to select the second one, then use our Ctrl G to place them in a group. This is before dodging and burning, this is after dodging and burning. We are done with dodging and burning. That takes us to stage 6, which is going to be skin smoothing. We are going to be using frequency separation for this. Let's rename this to Image. So we are going to be using our Ctrl J twice for more 2 copies. Then we are going to select these 2 copies. We are going to select the first one, then select the second one, use our Ctrl G to place them in a group. Then open the group. We can double click on this to rename this to be Details. Then we are going to rename this second one to be Colors. We are going to select the color, disable the detail layer, and go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Then we are going to adjust from 0.1 to where you will notice that you no longer see the skin texture. So we're going to take it 7.8, at least 8.6 should be okay. Let's just hit OK here. We are going to enable the detail layer, go to Image, Apply Image. Then we'll click on this drop down here to choose the color layer, because that is what we are going to be merging here. Blending must be on Subtract, and the opacity should be at 100. Then the scale to Offset, then hit OK. But never mind, it's just the dodge and burn that is showing on this image. It's supposed to be like this. Let's disable the dodge and burn group. You notice that it's clean now. So we are going to disable this detail layer, select the color layer, then zoom in, go to our brush tool, right click and select Mixer brush. Make sure we are using clean brush. Make sure this is selected, and make sure this box here is dark black, and we'll have the wet at 30, the load at 30, mist at 30. Then you can put any number of flow depending on how fast you want it to be. We are going to be brushing highlights, shadows, and midtone separately. Then we'll have the transition, which is in between highlight or midtone, or shadow or midtone. So we are not going to brush them together. We are going to brush them separately. Then we'll brush the transition separately. Then I'm going to be starting by brushing on this area. Don't make long strokes, just be making short strokes. Short strokes are the best, so you continue doing short strokes. So I'm on the highlights, just keep brushing on the highlights. Now I have to brush the transition between the highlights and the midtone. So this is the midtone now. So in between the highlights and the midtone, you have the transition, which is the blending. So this is the shadows. So I'm going to fasten this whole process, so as it's not going to take us too much time. And I'm going to brush the highlights here, then the shadows. So we are going to enable the detail layer, then go to choose the detail layer, go to blend mode and change it to linear light. This is before frequency separation, this is after frequency separation. That takes us to stage 7, which is going to be enhancing the makeup. So we are going to be adding little colors to this makeup. We are going to add vibrance. So we are going to click on the adjustment layer and choose vibrance. Then we are going to pick the vibrance up a little and the saturation a little up. Click on the layer mask and use our Ctrl I to invert layer mask. Then we'll take our brush tool, make sure the foreground color is white and background color is black, and we'll just softly paint on. Let's increase the opacity to 50 or thereabouts, and we'll increase our brush size and paint on the makeup to add a little vibrance to it. So we can do the same thing to the lips to enhance the color of the lip. So let's check the before and after the vibrance. This is before, this is after. Let's increase our opacity, and we can click on the vibrance and increase the vibrance on the saturation also. So this is what we have here. This is before and this is after. We are done with the makeup enhancement. That takes us to stage 8, which is going to be enhancing the highlights. Let's click the top layer and go to adjustment layer and choose curves. Then we are going to take the highlights up like this. Then we'll double click here to bring out the layer style boss. We are going to push the dark slider of the underline layer forward to create shine on the highlights. So we'll have it selected like this, and it's okay like this. Then we'll hold our Alt to split this angle apart. Then we are going to split it for better transition. Then we'll hit OK. Then click on the layer mask, use your Ctrl I to invert. Take your brush, make sure you are 100% opacity and 100% flow. Then you can brush on those highlights. So let's brush on the highlights, then increase and brush on these highlights. So we can also brush on this area. Then let's check the before and after the highlights. Before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Then we can still go in there, click on this and increase the highlights. So this is before and this is after, this is before, this is after. Done with the highlights. That takes us to the next stage, which is enhancing the eyeballs. So we'll go to the adjustment layer and choose curves. Then we'll pull the highlights up, select the layer mask, use your Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. Take your brush, make sure your foreground color is white and background color is black, and you reduce or increase your brush size and paint on the eyeballs. Avoid the middle of the eyeball. If you feel the effect is too much, you can reduce the opacity of the effect. We are going to be adding color to this. We'll go to the adjustment layer and choose solid color. So you are going to choose any color of our choice and hit OK. So we'll go to blend mode and choose overlay. Then we'll select the layer mask and use our Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. So we are going to take this layer, the selection of the eyebrow. We are going to hold our Alt and drag the selection. While holding the Alt, we'll drop it there, and it's going to ask if you are replacing the layer mask. Then we'll hit yes. Then we'll have these reds on the eyeballs. But if you feel the effect is too much, you can still reduce the opacity of the color. Double click on this and you have the color palette. You can change to any color from here. You can slide from down to up or from up to down to change to any of these colors. Okay, possibly let's leave it at blue. Let's leave it at blue and hit OK. Then we can put these two together. We can use our select the first one, then hold your Ctrl or your Shift to select the second one, then use your Ctrl G to place them in a group. So this is before, this is after. You can reduce the opacity of the entire group like so. So look at the eyeballs. This is before and this is after. This is before, this is after. Isn't that beautiful? So we are going to rename this to eye contact. Then hit OK. Then we are going to rename this other guy. This other guy is highlights. We are going to do highlights here. Then this other group, this is dodge and burn. So we are going to rename this to D and B. Enable the dodge and burn effect. This is before, this is after. This is before, this is after. Easy, isn't it? If you find it interesting, helpful and useful, let us know in the comment section telling us the area it has helped, the area it has not, and the area we need to improve on. Like I said earlier, if you are new on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not just hitting that subscribe button, also ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Thanks for watching this video. Creative people will keep on creating. Please stay creative. Keep on creating. See you in the next one. Bye for now.